It's late afternoon and we're on the only road to a tiny village in the Pin Valley called Mudh. We'd only arrived in the Spiti Valley the night before and had pushed really hard to get to a town called Tabo for the night. We'd been delayed by 5 days by a massive landslide at the southern end of the Spiti Valley. So this was our first real day of riding in the Spiti Valley, and as is every day in the Spiti Valley, it is a truly spectacular ride up to the village called Mudh. Up until 2 years ago, the road to Mudh was unsealed the whole way and took about 2.5 hours to go down it. But beginning 2 years ago, they've started sealing the road, so significant amounts of it now are sealed bitumen, but there are still large amounts of road like this that you need to navigate to get through. To say that this topography and this road would have come as a bit of a shock to all the riders would be an understatement. 24 hours before, we'd been sitting in a hotel for 5 days outside of the Spiti Valley in a green, not so mountainous terrain, waiting for the road to get cleared. And then less than 24 hours later, we're here. Because we were the first motorbikes to cross into the Spiti Valley at the landslide area, we effectively had the valley to ourselves for at least the next 3 to 4 days until other people could get across the landslide. Not that that makes a great deal of difference in the Spiti, because it's not well populated at the best of times, and it's certainly not well visited in terms of tourist numbers, and even less in terms of motorbike tourist numbers. It's around about 4 p.m. and there's plenty of light still up high, but because of the topography, when you're in the shadows where the sun's going down, the light disappears fairly quickly. It takes at least 24 hours to get used to riding in the Pin Valley, where you're trying to not look at the views and concentrate on the road. And on innumerable times in this afternoon, I nearly went off the road because I'd lost track of the road trying to take in what my eyes were seeing around me. The road today is excellent. If we'd come in here a week before and tried to get through, we probably wouldn't have made it, because there was quite a big amount of rain and it had made the road pretty evil in places. But it hasn't rained now for about 4 or 5 days in the valley, So it's good enough to get through on now, and even in the wet patches it presents no difficulties at all. At the rate that they're rebuilding, or should I say building the road, it's likely, as long as the snow season isn't too bad this year, it's likely they'll be 70 to 80% completed in the road all the way to Mudh by next season. This is going to invariably mean that more traffic's going to go along the road, but it's also going to mean it's going to be an easier ride in and out to get to Mudh. I guess I'm in the fortunate position where I've seen the road at its most basic, and now as each season goes by, I get to see it being improved. And definitely for the population of Mudh, which is around about 300 people, it's a real bonus to have a reliable way of getting in and out to their village. Mudh is the last village on the road, and after that, if you want to go any further, you have to walk or look at riding donkeys, or if you're even more ambitious, yaks. Mudh gets cut off from the rest of the world for around about 5 months of the year, every year when the snows come. And until last year, when a new repeater station for the cell phone service was put in, they were completely cut off from the world for that 5-month period. Now, thanks to modern technology, last winter and definitely this winter, they're at least going to have access to the outside world through the internet. Things will change really dramatically in the Pin Valley in the next 5 years, as they're working on making it being a shortcut into the Spiti Valley, which will drop the trip down by about 4 or 5 hours. So they're working on building a road that comes up through a different valley and then into the Pin Valley. And so this isolation and this wildness is going to disappear. Once again, it's a great thing for the populations of the small villages in the valley, but not so good for people who enjoy the wildness of what the Pin Valley is at the moment. Today's the first day that we've ridden off bitumen. When we came in last night, it was sealed the whole way, except for a couple of sections where landslides had been that we needed to navigate. But on the whole, it's an excellent road to enter into the Spiti Valley, because it's used by the military to take their troops and goods and supplies up to the Chinese border, where they have some contentious issues with the Chinese and the Indians. So it's good to get the bikes on not hardcore off-road, but it's good to get them on unsealed roads and get used to riding on the unsealed roads, because that's what we're going to have ahead of us for a great deal of our stay in the Spiti Valley over the next week. As is always the case, I enjoy being down the back of any group that's riding. It affords me the opportunity to stop whenever I want and take photos, and also I can quietly keep an eye on anything that's happening up ahead, and if anything does happen, then I can come across it and try and help where I can. We're getting close to Mudh itself now, and soon we'll arrive and get set up for our stay for the night. The Pin Valley is a really special place, and if you get the chance, come and visit it before it gets too civilized.